stood in the doorway of the room I'd slept in for 12 years, fingers wrapped around the handle of my faded floral suitcase like it was the only anchor I had left. The air smelled faintly of dust, perfume, and quiet humiliation. My heart wasn't just breaking, it felt like it was being peeled apart piece by painful piece. A few minutes earlier, my daughter-in-law had looked straight at me, her lipstick perfect, champagne glass in hand, and announced it like she was mentioning the weather. "We're arranging a nursing home for you. You're getting too old to be useful." Useful? As though my entire worth had an expiration date. My son, my only child, stood behind her, pretending to study the tiles on the floor. Tiles I helped pay for, tiles chosen after she'd insisted family shares everything. He couldn't even meet my eyes. "Mom, it's for the best," he murmured weakly. "You'll have people your age, activities. It's a nice place." A nice place? Like you could replace love with bingo cards and fluorescent lights. 12 years ago, when my husband died, my son begged me not to live alone. He told me I would always have a home with him. That was before the big house, before the social climbing wife, before I learned how quietly a person can disappear. I cooked their meals, watched the boys, folded laundry, cleaned rooms I didn't sleep in. And somewhere in all that serving, I stopped being a mother and became staff. Tonight, as caterers moved around me preparing their glamorous New Year's Eve party, I was told there wasn't space for me, neither at the party nor in their life. I'd already eaten dinner alone upstairs, a sandwich on a paper plate so I wouldn't make crumbs. I looked around my tiny corner of the house, the photographs of my son as a child, the quilt my mother had stitched by hand, the library books I borrowed because I was too embarrassed to ask for streaming passwords. This wasn't living, this was waiting to be stored away. But there was still one thing they didn't know. The old country house, my parents' cottage 2 hours north, untouched since the funeral. Modest, probably falling apart, but mine. And for the first time in months, I felt something that wasn't shame, hope. My savings were small, a little over $3,000 hidden in an account no one monitored, enough to go somewhere, to breathe, to exist without being measured by my usefulness. I packed only what mattered, a few clothes, my mother's quilt, photos, my wedding ring, a handful of letters I couldn't bear to lose. The hardest part was the note. I tried to write something kind. What came out was truth. "I won't be your burden anymore. Please don't look for me." I slipped out the front door while everyone was outside admiring fireworks. Not one person noticed. The bus station felt like another planet, dim lights, sticky floors, empty chairs. I bought a ticket to Millbrook and sat alone with my suitcase at my feet. And then the tears came, loud, unstoppable, humiliating sobs. It wasn't just sadness, it was grief for the life I thought I had and the people I'd never realized I'd already lost. A gentle voice interrupted my spiral. "Ma'am, are you okay?" A young woman knelt in front of me, kind eyes, scrubs under a winter coat. I tried to lie politely. "I'm fine, just a long day." She didn't move. "You don't look fine. Can I call someone? Your family?" Family. I laughed, a broken, ugly sound. "I don't have anyone anymore." She sat beside me. "I'm Debbie. I've got time. I can listen." So I told her about the nursing home plan, the isolation, the quiet erasing of my presence. I told her about the little house waiting far away and the tiny bit of money that was supposed to buy my freedom. She squeezed my hand and made a phone call, speaking quietly, urgently. I found her. Yes, I'm sure. Hurry. Then she returned and smiled gently. Help is coming. Just stay with me. My heart raced. I didn't understand. And then she asked the strangest question. Mrs. Baker, did you ever teach kindergarten? The world tilted. I nodded slowly. For 37 years. Her voice softened. Did you ever teach a boy named Dale? The name rose from somewhere deep in my memory. Big, dark eyes, shoes too tight, quiet hunger for learning. Yes, I whispered. She smiled, eyes glistening. He's my father, and he's been searching for you for 45 years. My breath caught. The nurse's daughter, the little boy with the hurting shoes, the child I helped quietly so his parents wouldn't feel ashamed, the child who remembered. And he was coming to me in this bus station on the night I ran away from the only family I thought I had left. A man from my past, a child I once helped, was racing toward me like some impossible miracle. But I had no idea that finding me wasn't the miracle. What came next would change everything. Time seemed to thicken around us after Debbie said those words. For a second, the sounds of the bus station, the buzzing lights, the vending machines, the soft hum of the heater, all faded into something distant and unreal. He's your father? I repeated, barely trusting my voice. She nodded, smiling through tears. My dad never forgot you, not once. He's told us stories for years about his kindergarten teacher, the woman who made him feel seen. I stared at her. I had done so little, really. A coat, shoes that didn't blister, extra sandwiches I pretended were leftovers. Acts that it felt ordinary at the time now echoed back decades later like something sacred. He's on his way, she continued softly. He left the dinner he was at. He didn't even put on his coat. He just ran. A deep tremor moved through my chest, a mix of fear, disbelief, and something like warmth. No one had run from me in years. I blinked at Debbie. Why would he do that? For me? Her answer was simple. Because you changed his life. I didn't feel like someone who changed lives. I felt like a woman who'd been discarded, who quietly slipped out of a house where she no longer belonged. Years of being talked over, years of shrinking, apologizing, disappearing, and yet someone remembered me, not as an inconvenience, but as a blessing. Minutes crawled. My bus time drew closer. My heart paced with the clock. Then the doors at the front of the station swung open. He walked in. Tall now, dressed well, a man with gray at his temples and purpose in every step. But beneath the lines of adulthood, I saw him, 5 years old, hopeful, quiet, sitting cross-legged with a book bigger than his lap. His gaze found mine like he'd known me all along. Mrs. Baker! Hearing my name break in his throat shattered something inside me. My eyes filled. Dale, I whispered. He crossed the floor and pulled me gently into his arms, not out of pity, out of gratitude, reverence. For a moment, I let myself be held. Nobody had embraced me like that in years. When we finally pulled apart, he studied me, not as an obligation, but with tender recognition. Debbie told me what happened, he said softly. You don't deserve what they did to you, not in any world. Shame fluttered through me. I wasn't used to being defended. I don't want to be a problem, I murmured. I just want it to be somewhere quiet, somewhere mine. He shook his head, firm but kind. You were never the problem. You were the blessing. Debbie squeezed my hand. Tell her, Dad. He drew a breath. When I was 5, I had shoes that cut my feet. I remember trying not to limp so no one would notice. My parents worked every hour they could. They loved me, but they couldn't fix everything. His eyes shone. And you stepped in, quietly, gently, no speeches, no shaming, just kindness. I watched his memories unfold like photographs. You gave me a coat when winter came. You packed extra food. You let me stay in during recess when I pretended I didn't want to play, but really my shoes hurt too much. He swallowed. You taught me that dignity matters, that being poor didn't mean being invisible, that people could see me and still be kind. A tear slipped down my cheek. I hadn't known he remembered. He exhaled slowly. I promised myself that when I grew up, I'd live like you taught me, helping people without making them feel smaller. Debbie smiled proudly. He meant it. He helps families like ours every single day. For the first time that night, I felt steady. Not useful, not convenient, meaningful. Dale reached into his wallet and pressed a card into my hand. Heavy paper, embossed letters. Attorney, senior partner. You helped build this, he said simply. Everything I am started because one person chose kindness in a classroom. The bus announcement echoed through the station. Millbrook, boarding soon. I looked at the ticket I'd bought with shaking hands earlier, my desperate escape. Then I looked at Dale, at Debbie, at kindness. What if I'm intruding? What if this isn't my place? Dale smiled gently, the same way he did when he was a boy afraid to ask for help. You are never intruding in the life you helped grow. His tone softened further. Come with us tonight. Rest, eat, think. No decisions, no pressure, just safety. Safety. The word wrapped around my tired bones like a blanket. For months, I had walked carefully, spoke softly, tried not to be too much. Now someone was asking me to simply exist. I nodded slowly. All right. Debbie beamed, relieved. Dale picked up my suitcase as if it weighed nothing and guided us out to the car. The winter air bit at my cheeks, but inside I carried something warm I hadn't felt in far too long. Not dependence, not fear, belonging. We drove through the quiet streets, city lights flickering like distant constellations. Debbie sat beside me, hand resting over mine, grounding me. My mom is going to cry when she sees you, she said with a soft laugh. I've heard about you her whole life. Why? I asked gently. Because to us, you're the proof that one act of kindness can ripple through generations. The idea stunned me. Generations. Me, the woman who'd been told she was in the way. I closed my eyes and let the motion of the car lull me, feeling for the first time in years the faint, unfamiliar sensation of being carried instead of pushed aside. The road stretched ahead, dark and quiet, and without knowing it, I was leaving more than a bus ticket behind. I was leaving the belief that I didn't matter. I thought the miracle was simply being found, but what waited at the end of that drive wasn't gratitude, it was protection. And the moment I stepped inside their house, my past and my future collided in a way I never expected. The house came into view slowly, a warm glow spilling from the windows into the dark winter night. Not grand, not extravagant, just lived in. As we pulled into the driveway, I noticed the little details. A wreath, slightly crooked, with hand-tied ribbon. Boots by the porch steps, wind chimes moving gently in the cold. It looked like the kind of home where laughter gathers in corners and stays. Dale turned off the engine and glanced at me. His expression wasn't pity or obligation. It was softer, like he was grateful I was there. Take your time, he said quietly. You're safe. Those words still startled me. Safe. As if he could sense how foreign they felt. Debbie hurried ahead to unlock the door. When it opened, warmth spilled out. Not only heat, but the sort of warmth that comes from kindness layered over time. A woman appeared from the kitchen, silver hair pulled back, flour dusting her apron. She froze when she saw me, then brought her hand to her mouth. "This is her?" she whispered. Dale nodded. "This is Mrs. Baker." In an instant, she crossed the room and wrapped me in a hug, gentle, careful, but full of gratitude. "I've waited years to thank you," she murmured. "Welcome home." Home. My throat tightened. I hadn't realized how long I'd been wandering, even while living in a house. They led me to the dining table. Nothing fancy, mismatched plates, a vase with fading flowers, a candle flickering softly. But it felt like dignity, like someone saying, "Sit, you belong here. Your presence matters." Debbie poured tea. Her mother placed steaming soup before me. The smell alone made my chest ache. For months, meals had felt like tasks. Tonight, it felt like care. I tried not to eat too quickly, but I was hungrier than I had admitted, not just for food, but for kindness. "We don't need details unless you want to share," Dale said gently. "But I want you to know this. What they did to you was wrong. No one deserves to be discarded." Discarded. The word landed with sharp honesty. I looked down at my hands, wrinkled, spotted, trembling slightly. I felt like furniture, something they rearranged when there wasn't space. Silence fell, respectful, heavy, compassionate. His mother shook her head, tears gathering. "You raised a son, you grieved a husband, you taught children, you loved people. That doesn't expire." I swallowed hard. In my son's house, aging felt like failure. Here, it felt like proof of survival. After dinner, they guided me to the spare room. Fresh sheets, a quilt, a lamp with warm amber light. On the dresser, a small frame held a childhood drawing, a teacher holding hands with a smiling boy. In childish letters beneath it, "Thank you, Mrs. Baker." I traced the crayon lines with my fingertip, breath shaking. "You kept this?" I asked softly. Dale nodded from the doorway. It reminded me who I wanted to be. I sat on the edge of the bed, overwhelmed with emotion I couldn't name. Relief, sadness, gratitude, grief for years of invisibility. "Rest," he said gently. "In the morning, we'll figure things out together." Together? I wasn't used to that word including me. When they left and the door closed quietly, I lay back on the pillow. Sleep didn't come easily. My mind wandered back through decades of noise and silence. I remembered rocking my son as a baby. I remembered promising myself that I would never let him feel abandoned. And yet, somewhere in the years, something had shifted. Not suddenly, slowly. The comments at first, light jokes about old people habits, the gentle suggestions, maybe sit this one out, the errands, the babysitting, the gratitude that faded into expectation, and finally, the conversation that ended everything. "You're becoming too much. A home for the elderly will take good care of you." As if love had limits, as if care was an inconvenience. Tears slid silently into my hair. I wasn't angry, not yet. I was simply mourning. Mourning the fantasy that my son would hold on to me the way I held on to him. Somewhere in the house, laughter drifted, low, gentle, comfortable. Not at my expense, not behind closed doors, just life being lived. I must have fallen asleep finally, because the next thing I knew, morning sunlight filtered through the curtains, soft, golden, gentle. A tray waited by the bed, toast, fruit, tea. A note lay beside it. "Eat when you wake. You don't have to hurry for anyone anymore." I pressed the paper to my chest. My heart swelled with something I hadn't let myself feel in a long time. Worth. Later, I joined them in the kitchen. The day buzzed quietly around us. Debbie gathered her things before leaving for work, kissing her father's cheek, hugging her mother, then gently squeezing my arm. I'm glad you're here. You matter to us. You matter. Such small words, such enormous weight. Dale motioned for me to sit. We can talk options today. Legal options, financial options, whatever you're comfortable with. No pressure. You choose. The sentence stunned me. You choose. For years, everything had been decided around me. I hesitated. I don't want trouble. He shook his head. Standing up for yourself isn't trouble, it's dignity. We talked, not like a lawyer talks to a client, but like someone who cared. He explained things slowly, carefully, respectfully. I learned something shocking. I still had rights. I still had property. I still had choices. The little house up north, my pension, my name on certain accounts, pieces I'd believed didn't matter, pieces that proved I hadn't disappeared completely. And then he said something that changed the temperature of the room. They didn't want to care for you, but they may have been interested in what you own. A quiet, cold realization slid through me. Had love truly faded, or had convenience replaced it? The truth hurt more than any insult ever could, but beneath the pain, something else stirred. Not fury, not revenge, strength, a remembering. I was not a burden. I was a woman who lived, loved, taught, survived, contributed. And suddenly, the idea of shrinking to fit someone else's comfort felt impossible. The past could not be changed, but the future, though, that was still mine to choose. I lifted my chin slightly, my voice steadied. What do we do next? Dale smiled, proud, protective, gentle. We make sure you are never treated like you don't matter again. For the first time, I wasn't running, I was standing. And what came next wasn't quiet or simple. It was the moment my son discovered I wasn't gone and that I was no longer afraid. It started with a phone that wouldn't stop buzzing. Dale had set my teacup on the table when it began. One vibration, then another, then a relentless string of notifications. His jaw tightened slightly, though his voice stayed gentle. I'm sorry, let me just check this. I nodded, pretending not to notice. But when he glanced at the screen, his face changed. Not surprise, not confusion, recognition. He turned the phone around for me to see. My son's name. A sharp ache tightened in my chest, like a memory coming back too bright. He's been calling hospitals, police stations, anyone who will listen, Dale said quietly. He reported you missing. Something twisted inside me. Missing? Not unwanted, not inconvenient. Missing. The word should have softened something in me, but instead it confused me, because the man who reported me missing was the same man who stood quietly while his wife arranged to send me away. Part of me wanted to cry. Part of me wanted to run. Part of me wanted answers. The phone buzzed again. Dale exhaled slowly. I won't speak on your behalf, he said gently. You decide whether to answer. My hands trembled. I stared at the device on the table like it might burn me. For years, one sentence had swallowed my voice. I don't want to cause problems. But now, after one night in a house where I wasn't treated like excess baggage, another thought emerged. I deserve to be heard. I nodded slowly. I'll talk to him. Dale tapped the screen and slid the phone toward me, staying close, not controlling, just present. My son's voice came through shaky, strained. Mom? Mom, is that you? For a moment, all I could do was breathe. Hearing his voice, the same boy who once cried over scraped knees, the same child who used to fall asleep against my shoulder, it cracked something inside me. I'm here, I said softly. A choked exhale, relief flooding through the line. Where are you? My God, I thought something happened. Why did you leave like that? Why didn't you tell us? There it was again. Us. as if there was no fracture, as if love had not been replaced with logistics. My fingers tightened around the phone. I left, I said carefully, because staying meant disappearing slowly, and I didn't want to disappear anymore. Silence. Long. Uncomfortable. Then defensiveness creeping in. Mom, that's not fair. We were trying to help. We talked about this. The home is nice. They have nurses, activities, everything you could want. Everything they believed I should settle for. It wasn't home, I replied gently. It was a place to put me. He sighed, the impatient sigh I'd begun to dread in that house. You're misunderstanding. Emily and I have responsibilities. The kids, the business, our schedules. We can't do everything. I closed my eyes. There was the truth beneath it all. Not cruelty, convenience. I never asked you to do everything. I only asked not to be stored away like extra furniture. My words landed heavy. He didn't speak right away. When he did, his voice had softened but not entirely changed. Where are you staying? I hesitated, not out of fear, but out of clarity. The boy I raised would have asked if I was safe first. The man he'd become wanted information. Dale met my eyes. He didn't tell me what to do. He didn't signal. He just trusted me. I'm safe, I said, with people who remember me with kindness. Confusion flickered in his voice. Who? I swallowed. You remember the stories I told about the little boy in my class whose shoes hurt? He paused. Dale? Yes. Another silence, this one stunned. He found you? He didn't find me, I corrected softly. Kindness did. I could almost hear the gears turning on the other end. Guilt, pride, something tangled. Mom, come home, he said finally. We'll talk. We'll fix this. Please, Emily's upset. The kids are confused. We didn't mean to. He stopped short, then forced the words out. We didn't mean to hurt you. A tremor ran through me, because part of that was true. They hadn't set out to wound me. They simply hadn't noticed when they did. And still, returning to that house felt like stepping back into a smaller version of myself, quiet, careful, afraid to take up space. I'm not ready, I said softly. The hurt in his voice was immediate. So you're choosing strangers over your family? The question pierced deep, not because it was true, but because I knew he believed it. I'm choosing dignity, I said gently, and until you can see me as someone who still matters, I need distance. The air between us grew fragile. He exhaled. I don't understand, he admitted finally, but I don't want to lose you. My heart ached. You don't lose people by loving them. You lose them by forgetting their value while they're standing right in front of you. I heard him sniff, a quiet, shaky breath. Then, can I call you again later? Relief softened the tension in my chest. Yes. The call ended. I set the phone down. For a moment, I just sat there, letting the weight of what had happened settle over me. I had spoken. Not in anger, not with spite, with truth, and I had not shattered. Dale rested his hand over mine. I'm proud of you, he said softly. Those words, simple, steady, filled a place inside my chest I didn't realize had gone hollow. Nobody had said that to me in years. Later that afternoon, we took a slow walk through the neighborhood, bundled in coats, snow crunching beneath our shoes. Children played nearby, someone shoveled a driveway. Life moved gently around us. For the first time in so long, I didn't feel like a ghost drifting past other people's lives. I felt present, real, seen. The sky darkened early, as winter skies often do, and as we turned back toward the house, Dale's phone chimed again. He glanced at the screen. This time, he said carefully, it's your daughter-in-law. A shadow slipped across my thoughts, memories of polite smiles that cut, comments coated in sugar and control. My stomach tightened. I wasn't ready for her voice yet. Dale slipped the phone back into his pocket without pressing anything. "You don't have to face anything until you're ready," he said quietly. "This time, you choose the moment." We walked the rest of the way in silence, but I knew deep down that sooner or later I would have to face them, not as the quiet woman they could move around, but as someone who finally understood her worth. And that conversation would change everything. The calls had begun, but the hardest voice, the one I feared and resented and still loved, was still waiting. And when we finally spoke face to face, truth would come out on both sides. Days passed more gently than I expected. Not perfect, not pain-free, just softer. I helped with small things around the house, folding linens, chopping vegetables, reading to Debbie's little boy when he came by after school. Whenever I tried to apologize for being in the way, they stopped me. "You're not in the way," Dale would say kindly. "You're in our lives." Those words stitched slowly into places inside me that had frayed. But underneath the calm, something simmered. The conversation I still hadn't had with her, the woman who married my son, the woman who slowly turned my presence into an inconvenience. Part of me wanted to avoid it forever, to stay in the safety of this new house, this new warmth, pretend the other life never existed. But dignity isn't built by hiding, it's built by standing. On the fourth evening, as twilight dipped the sky into purple, Dale stepped into the living room. "They called again," he said gently. "She wants to meet, somewhere neutral. No pressure, only if you feel ready." My heart thudded. I stared at my hands. They still trembled sometimes, like they hadn't yet learned that no one was going to take control from them. "Where?" I asked quietly. "A small cafe, public, calm. We'll sit nearby, not at the table, just close enough so you feel steady. Not controlling, not rescuing, just supporting." I nodded. "I think I need to do this." The cafe smelled like roasted coffee beans and fresh bread, comfort layered over nerves. My daughter-in-law sat already at a corner table, her perfectly styled hair pulled tight, makeup neat, posture straight. When she saw me, surprise flickered, then relief, then something complicated I couldn't name. "Hi," she said softly, not sharp, not cold, just tired. I sat down slowly. Dale and his wife slipped to a table across the room, giving me privacy while still anchoring me. For a moment, neither of us spoke. We just existed there, two women bound by family and fractured expectations. Finally, she exhaled. "I've been replaying everything," she said, voice trembling, "and I think I missed how lonely you were." The honesty stunned me. I expected excuses. I expected self-defense, but not this. I swallowed. "I didn't try to make you the enemy." "I know," she whispered, "but I treated you like a project to manage instead of a person to love. I kept thinking, if she's in a home, everything will be easier." Her eyes filled. "I never asked how that would feel for you." Something inside my chest loosened. A wound doesn't heal because someone regrets it, but acknowledgement is the first stitch. I nodded slowly. "Do you know what hurt most?" I asked gently. She blinked. "What?" "Feeling like I'd become invisible, like decisions about my life were being made over dinners I wasn't invited to sit at." Her shoulders sagged, shame washed across her features. "I'm sorry," she whispered. "I thought I was organizing, planning, being responsible, but I was actually controlling everything and calling it love." Silence lingered, honest, painful, necessary. Then I said something I never imagined myself saying. "I wasn't perfect either." Her head snapped up, surprised. I stopped speaking up. I made myself smaller. I nodded instead of saying, "This hurts." I trained everyone around me to believe I didn't have needs. My voice steadied. And then I resented you when you believed the version of me I pretended to be. Tears rolled slowly down her cheeks. I didn't want to lose you, but somehow I still managed to push you out. We both stared at our hands for a few seconds, two women who had finally stopped pretending. Then she asked, almost like a child, "Would you ever consider coming back?" The question landed gently, not forcefully, not demanding. I thought carefully. Images flashed through my mind. Me eating alone upstairs. Me careful not to laugh too loudly. Me planning where to disappear. Then another image. Morning sunlight on clean sheets. Tea with people who said my name softly. Conversations where I mattered. "I can visit," I said honestly. "I can be family. I can love you. But I can't return to being small again, and I won't move back into a house where I disappear." She nodded, not happy, not triumphant, accepting. "I understand," she said thickly, "and I want to learn to love you better from here forward, even if it means giving you space." We stood. She hesitated, then stepped forward and hugged me, not possessive, not apologetic, grateful. "I'm glad you're safe," she whispered. "So am I," I replied gently. When I walked back to Dale's table, his eyes searched my face, not demanding answers, simply checking if I was okay. "I'm all right," I said softly. "For the first time, I'm all right." Outside, winter air brushed my cheeks. The world looked the same, yet entirely different, because I was different. Later that night, sitting in bed beneath the quilt, a thought came to me. We spend our youth learning how to take care of others. We spend our later years learning, sometimes painfully, how to take care of ourselves without guilt. I wasn't running anymore. I wasn't begging. I wasn't invisible. I had voice. I had boundaries. I had people who valued me not for what I did, but for who I was. And the life ahead wasn't the one I thought I'd have, but it was still mine. Mine to shape. Mine to protect. Mine to live. I reached up, touched the little framed drawing on the dresser, the one with childlike letters spelling my name. Kindness circles back, sometimes in ways that arrive exactly when we believe we finally run out of miracles. I turned off the lamp. The darkness no longer felt like abandonment. It felt like rest. And this time, I welcomed it. We think our story ends when people stop choosing us, but often the true story begins the moment we finally choose ourselves.